Why, hello again, everyone. My name is Filibuster Fox, casting today with Azaraki Dragon for the Strife Championship Series, brought to you by Surreal Productions and GameVox, voice done right. This is the first qualifier tournament, wherein two players from the winner's bracket and two players from the loser bracket will make it through on a double elimination to qualify for the Strife Championship Series. This is the second game we're casting today between Team Glory as Kaizen and Team Valor with Papa Please. Going right into the pick-up bands, Azaraki Dragon.
I was going to say, apparently now I'm casting with William Shatner.
If you must insist.
Yes, so already we're having some of the bands and some of the picks as well. Wow, let me fix that real quick.
Indeed, we've got some of the bands. We've got the first two bands selected are Harrower and Bastion. Bastion being more of a pure tank CC type, and Harrower being a very heavy damage, fairly tanky type, is going to reduce the number of tank champions that are available in these matchups. Very popular bands getting rid of some of the tanks to prevent teams from having two or forbid even three really heavy tank lines.
Yeah, one of those big pick and ban strategies we saw a while ago was basically banning out one of the tanks and then picking two of them. So if you ban out one of the tanks, you're basically forcing the person on the glory side to... Yeah, you're facing the person, I think. The person on the glory side. The person on the green side. Yes, that's glory. Cool. The person on the glory side to pick a tank. Because if that guy does not first pick a tank, then the Valor side gets two tanks. So they can ban one, take two, and now suddenly glory is completely... there's nothing they can do about it. They don't get a full tank. The closest they can really come is someone like Shank. They can get a little bit more utility with Vex. Vex can get a little bit tankier, but definitely nowhere near the big tank status / initiation of Bo, Bastion, or Claudessa. So that's something that used to be, and still is, a pick ban strategy. Once the new three heroes get into the rotation, we'll have Nikolai, and that's no longer going to be a problem, but for now, that's really the meta sort of pick and ban phase that you want right now. And in terms of the Harrower ban, he's just, again, really safe laner. He can harass from a distance, he can farm from a distance, and on top of that, he's got a really strong late game. So one of those really rampy heroes that is too safe to really let through. So that's one of the big reasons why they did not want to deal with that. And in terms of Kaizen's picks, they got Bo, Ray, Rook, Vermilion, and Vex. So they have so much initiation, so much follow-up, and so much CC on top of that. So Kaizen is definitely looking to find fights in the mid-game. They're looking to take early Baldirs. They're basically trying to force fights wherever they can. Over on the other side, Papa Please has taken Featherstone, Claudessa, Trixie, and Tinder. So theirs is looking a little bit different. Trixie's going to give them a lot of poke as well as pushing power. At the same time, they've got a decent amount of counter-engage with Claudessa. Lady Tinder's looking to make picks, and Featherstone is pretty good all-round hero, but he's really excels during team fights. So we have a really well-rounded comp by Papa Please, something that's not particularly amazing at any one thing, but is good at a lot of things. So they're looking to play a little bit more in terms of the reactionary play, whereas Kaizen is looking to go full ham, hard initiate everything. Vex jumps in with his ultimate, with his global ultimate. Bo knocks people back. Ray lands his stun. Rook just goes to town with the amount of steroids he gets from his kit. And, that's just a lot of damage all across the board. So in terms of Papa Please's last pick, there are a lot of things they can go with. I can see a Carter being possible. Carter is extremely strong, and we actually see Carter being one of the stronger picks in general when it comes to harassing lane, when it comes to dominating lane. And late game, he can take his health with just two of his rockets. So that's pretty huge.
Indeed. Now, what's interesting about Kaizen's makeup is they have a lot of basically global presence. Vex has the ability to teleport into other lanes to get in position to suddenly turn a team fight. And of course, Rook has that long-range stun ultimate. If he lands it right, can change the tide of a fight in the far side of the map. It'll be harder to hit, but if he manages it, can pull off an interesting. Suddenly, you have 3 members mid against 2. Vex can teleport in, Rook can ult in, and suddenly it's a 5v2 basically. So that leaves a lot of potential for global presence out of Kaizen's composition. And Hale being the final pick there is a very solid character. He's got a lot of damage capability and decent amount of survivability to go alongside of it. But once again, we see a very concentrated team comp out of Kaizen and a little more of a jack of all trades comp out of Papa Please.
Yep, and Hale's going to round out their comp by adding some initiation into it as well as a little bit of assassin power. That's going to be pretty strong. So if I look at these, let me just give. All right, cool. They're starting up the pick phase. So as they do that, I'm going to continue just running over these picks and bans. So far, Kaizen, looking at their lanes, they're going to have Rook bottom, Bow Ray mid, and Vermilion Vex top. That's really one of the super standard things that we see, unless they decide to really change it up, because Rook is such a great solo laner. He can harass almost anyone out of lane in the early game, and he's also good in terms of... Wow, that was a really fast pick phase. Okay, and he's also really good when you think about just scaling into the late game. So you give him the solo lane, you give him the extra experience, you give him some of the extra gold per minute, and that really helps him get to the late game guaranteed without too much trouble. Bow and Ray mid, both of those are really good at roaming, and after that, Vermilion Vex, that's going to sort of be a little bit of farming in the top lane, and Vex usually wants to go top lane because the mid lane is generally the lane that's going to roam. So Vex can ult down into the bottom lane while someone mid roams down to the bottom lane as well, and suddenly it's a 3v1, and that can really shut down whoever decides to go bot. It looks like it might be Hale. I think we might see Feder Trixie top. No. Huh. We'll figure out the lanes in a bit. I'm not entirely sure what Papa Please's lanes are going to be like, but they can send a lot of people a lot of places, so it's also possible that they're going to play the early game level 1 as a sort of information gathering game. They're going to want to see what they can muster in terms of information as to where the Kaizen lanes are going, and then they'll try to react off of that. So let me fix that again. I really need to figure out a good system to make these names always appear the same size instead of getting stretched all the time. But we are in the game.
Indeed we are, and the lanes appear to be unfolding. Looks like Claudessa and Lady Tinder both heading mid, although they could just be rotating for some level 1 play. They may be looking to have some sort of gank on the bot lane or question mark. See what they end up doing there. The standard 2-2-1 layout for Kaizen coming out. Ryzen moving a bit far up there to throw out his mines. And okay, here we go. We've got Trixie and Hale going up to the top lane. I imagine that's going to be Hero bot, and then Tinder and Claudessa mid.
Oh,
and here's the engaged light going right into Ryzen, but the mines keeping Ripa from coming up, and it was just a little too early for Hiku to come in.
So actually, one of the big strategies that we see a lot of Ray players do is in the bot lane, they place a few mines over here, and the general idea of that is to start getting the lane pushing, because those 3 mines end up taking out most of a minion wave's health, and then whoever's laning there can finish it off really quickly, get an early level 2, and get some early pushing down. That's going to give them a lot of control. And what Ripa did down there was he basically activated those mines extremely early, and he had enough out of combat regen, because if you don't attack or get attacked in a long enough time, you start regenning health and mana, and he was able to regen on his way back to mid lane. So no harm, no foul in the bottom lane, and now Ryzen is not able to make that big pushing play in the very, very early game. So really good reactionary play by Papa Please in order to make that happen. And we do have a pause, so it doesn't look like anyone's DC'd, but they're saying Fable's getting DDoSed, which is unfortunate. You never want to see anyone have any connection issues whatsoever. So Fable playing Hale up in the top lane.
So
and I think something might be happening with my connection as well, because I cannot currently hear. Are you back? Am I back?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can. Okay.
Oh,
Unfortunately, we're having some
Fantastic.
connection issues ourselves, so hopefully things won't persist. Hopefully they'll get better as the shoutcast continues.
Indeed. Connection issues, very good. But now we have Hail loading in once again. Fable should be back in here shortly, and we'll be able to get going once again very soon here. And we will see how these lanes start to unfold. Right now, not a whole lot of anything happening anywhere. Really, the only sort of quick pushing so far has been in the mid lane, as the Indies got there a bit quicker, but not much to say yet, really. Earlier pauses are a little unfortunate like that.
Yeah, not too much to talk about. We could mention some of the item builds, but again, most people just started regen. They started either dual shards or dual crystals. Is that what it is? Okay, Clarity
Yes,
Stone or 2 Clarity Shards. Okay, so those are basically the two big options that people have decided to use in terms of mana. Hail going for Fable on Hail going for 2 health shards instead. So health regen shards. So again, a lot of emphasis on early regen. That's basically what people are going to end up wanting to do, but we do see 2 boot picks out from Kaizen, so they're either going to want to dodge skill shots, which in the top lane makes sense for Aranar because he's going to be able to dodge those cauldrons just like that, and in the mid lane, Dudley is going to be able to dodge Claudessa's Dragon's Reach as well, so there are definitely justifiable reasons for them to take boots first, and that's basically to give them a little bit of laning control by being able to dodge skill shots, but not dodging the tether by Ripa quite yet. He's going to take a little bit of poke damage.
An interesting lane set up for Ripa and Hiku here with Claudessa Tinder. That's a lot of crowd control, but it also has a lot of potential for damage, but not as much as bringing a true damage character. But that's go. Oh, a nice tear there from Ripa. Maybe enabling a Q out of Hiku there, landing beautifully onto Dudley. Almost enough to take him down, but he gets out of there with just a sliver of health, and that's going to be continuing aggression from this mid lane.
Aggressive is definitely what Papa Please is looking to do, and they have a lane that sort of warrants it. As you said, tons of CC right there, and tons of long-range poke as well. Ripa has basically an instant cast ability that will hit someone no matter what, and it does damage to them. On top of that, that same ability also heals teammates, so they have a lot of sustain, they have a lot of early harass and trading potential in the mid lane, especially because Ziku is so tanky, and he also started with some early mana and health regen, so they're definitely
Plus,
looking
he's
to
just
bully
ordered
out.
his Elder Stone, so that's going to give him some scaling tankiness as time goes on. Nice early, a little before the 2-minute mark, and there it is. But that's going to give him a nice bit of tankiness when fighting up against Dudley.
Yep, and the Elder Stone, one of the big points of it is basically that sort of telegraphs that he's going to want to be staying in lane, he's going to want to be just riding the wave up until that point. You know, he's not looking to be too aggressive because it's a power spike, but it's a power spike after it stacks up. It's not a power spike right now, so he could have taken an item that gives him more power, more health regen, more something like that right now to try to help bully out the lane, but he's going for a little bit more towards the mid-game oriented build right there.
Indeed. Still not a whole lot of action happening in the other lanes aside from poking and farming. Mid lane seems to be where most of the action is right now. Top's got a little bit of excitement here and there, but really it's fairly minor. Harrow now in trouble down in the bot lane. Lag just getting out of there barely as Ryson got aggressive and pushed against him. Just as I said, nothing interesting was happening down there.
Yep, not too much, just trades overall, and generally we don't see solo 1v1 kills down in the bottom lane unless there were to be a gank or a big play. Like, if Dudley on Rook were to ult down bot, that could definitely change something and force a kill down in the bot lane, but other than that, we're going to see, they're going to start playing a little bit safer or down in the bot lane. Featherstone's probably going to be staying under his tower a little bit more. However, he's still taking a lot of poke from the mines from Ray. So that's definitely something that he's going to have to watch out for. He started with a throwing axe, so that's going to give him a little bit of extra last hitting power. And he's also picked up 2 regens.
But there's a fight in the mid lane. HDN in a lot of trouble, but so is Rip as Dudley's chasing him down. Got Claudessa on his back, but the nice slow from HDN is going to enable the kill for Dudley there. Claudessa lands the Dragon's Reach, but it's not enough to really make up for losing the Lady Tinder there, and that's going to push things back a little more even. It was a pretty heavy lead for Papa Please in the mid lane, but now with that kill, they've even things out quite nicely.
Yeah, so Papa Please and Kaizen is one of the big sort of matchups that we saw here. Kaizen was in the SPL, so they got priority seeding. Papa Please, however, since they were not in the SPL, they did not get the priority seeding, so these two teams ended up against each other pretty early. However, the loser of this game will go on to the double elimination bracket, so they're going to be on the lower bracket, so they still have a really good chance to get into the SPL off of one of the 4 qualifying spots. So in this game, I definitely expect this game to be a pretty good game. These teams are both very good. Papa Please has dominated the 2 test events we've had, and there goes a little bit of stuns.
Puts him in a lot of trouble, and he gets out of there with the hook, but now HDN is going ham on to Claudessa, but it's not enough, and both teams get out of there. Looks like Kaizen is a little worse for the wear out of that fight, especially given the sustain between the 2 heals from Claudessa and Tinder for Papa Please. Get a little bit of tower damage here and push up, but they're not going to get much else.
And sorry everyone for the little bit of roboting that's happening. Unfortunately, my connection doesn't seem to be working extremely well today, but hopefully you can still hear me perfectly fine, and hopefully the stream still looks really, really good. So we're just going to see Fable trying to go in for the top lane.
And Fable is going so far to try to catch Arinar, and the snare lands. It's so close, but it looks like he gets out of there with barely anything to go, and they're going to go back up and have a bit of an advantage when it comes to farm. But meanwhile, down in the bot lane, the 1v1 kill for Ryzen under tower there. Just so much harass coming out from this Ray is just dominating, and that is terrifying when none of your lanes are really ahead enough, and you start losing that 1v1 lane down in bot, and no one's really able to rotate to help him out. Down goes the first tower in favor of Kaizen.
We have a Rook ult over to the top lane, but unfortunately it misses, so that's not going to be able to let Kaizen go in for any sort of kills right there. Arinar is just going to be able to back off underneath the tower and try to farm up as much as possible. So overall, if we look at the gold graphs, it's pretty far into Kaizen's favor already, just hovering around 2,000 gold in their favor at the moment, so definitely not a lead that you can't come back from. Probably still has a chance. It definitely is going to depend on their mid lane rotations, however, and see what they can do with their comp, because again, they have a really well-rounded comp. They can go for picks if they want to go for picks. They can teamfight, they can initiate, they can counter-initiate. There's a lot of stuff that they can do, and most of what their comp is going to end up doing is try to outplay people. It's not sort of a comp order win, because they're not going for any specific purpose. The snare catches out Dudley, but he's not going to be able to take any tower damage, as there were already minions tanking up the tower.
Ryzen here is so very far ahead in GPM and XPM, and that's allowing him to put pressure on. Hero is finally starting to push out, so he's going to have to go back. Miss Snare from Rippa prevents the engage on the withdrawing Kaizen mid, but it's looking a little rough, primarily because of how strong down in the bot lane that Ryzen is doing right now. He is just so far ahead of Herrar, and he's able to put out the pressure. Now it's, sorry, to have it, Featherstone. I keep calling him Herrar, I'm sorry, but Featherstone is now moving on to the mid lane and trying to make something happen here, potentially, with Rippa against Dudley.
And
but meanwhile, top here comes Claudessa in for the gank. Arinar getting out of there just barely once again. This guy, time and time again, getting out of there with nothing left, but not giving up any kills. And now Fable is taking a bit of damage trying to push down this tower. Claudessa heads back mid.
He does head back mid, and it looks like they might go for a little bit of pushing down onto this nice hook. However, nothing is going to be able to follow up on that. They're not going to be able to capitalize on it. And it looks like Featherstone, Lag, is getting chased out by Ryzen a little bit over control of that Observer, and he's going to be able to see Ziku coming up, so he's not going to get caught out on that play. So Rip is now soloing mid for a couple of seconds while Ziku gets back towards their Crystalline Shiv on the side of Trixie over up in the top lane, and it looks like for the most part all the carries are going for full power builds. We'll have to see what they end up building those actually into, but Rook ult lands up in the top lane. They're going to go for it.
And Metikias and Fable. Fable's in, the only survivor will be already taken down, but Aranar and Metikias did a good job of capitalizing upon that rook ult, and Fable has no mana to punish them afterwards. It's just down. A nice pickup for a kill for no cost.
Yep, and in the mid lane,
Meanwhile,
it
they're
looks
going to
like
try
they're
to
going to
pressure
start
this
pushing.
mid lane.
Most certainly.
Got 3 up. The engaged from Ray. Ziku drops the ultimate, but it's not enough. He goes down very quickly. HG in a lot of trouble now. Rip trying to chase him down, but no luck there. A nice another pickup for Kaizen with no cost to them.
Yeah, no cost whatsoever. They're not going to be able to push the tower, however, they do end up with that pick, and that's going to be basically skyrocketing them in their gold difference. It looks like they're about 3k ahead, so very good play by them. We're going to start seeing Baldir rotations pretty soon if they can keep making picks. And Papa Please, at this point, in order to come back into the game, they're definitely going to want to try to out-rotate Kaizen, because that's something that this game is decided on. Strife is all about those mid-game rotations that you can pull, and any team who isn't monumentally down in the early game can always come back in the mid game if they pull off some great rotations and good team fights. So Dudley not going to get caught out by another Dragon's Reach, and even if he did, he's just going to be able to use his invulnerability, but nice bow stun against the wall, going to be able to dissuade them from jumping down onto Dudley.
Not a whole lot after that. Nice attempts from both sides to engage here. Another missed Dragon's Reach, but that's not a problem. He has it on a fairly quick cooldown. Keep going. Ryzen, once again, heavily pressuring Featherstone down in the bot lane. Like having so much trouble there, trying to do anything here, but a lot of pressure constantly in mid is bringing Ray over. Ryzen is coming up behind Lady Tino. This could be disastrous for Ripa and Ziku if they don't see it coming. Bo goes in. He's got the pressure onto Ripa. Missed Dragon's Reach from Ziku. Waiting for the right there. There it is. Ripa's caught in it. Stuck there and going down very quickly. Lag's here to help now, though. Ryzen getting out of there quite nicely. HGN is the one in trouble, but he gets away with a sliver of health. It's not enough. Lag does go down to Ryzen, and now Zico's in trouble. Dudley and Ryzen both pressuring it. May be able to get out here. Looks like nearly landing the stun, but Zico does manage to survive as a beautiful rotation from Ryzen provides another 2 kills for Kaizen.
Alright, so one of the big things we're going to end up doing here is we're going to see Ziku just pushing down, seeing what he can do over there in the mid lane. And at the moment, both of these teams are looking to just reset. They're going to try to push. They're going to try to rotate as much as possible. And here we go. Ziku is going to go in for an initiation right there. But it looks like nothing, again, is going to be happening. Both teams looking to try to find rotations as much as possible, but unfortunately, not much is going to be happening in that respect. So, and sorry, we are still having connection issues at the moment, and we're going to try to resolve those as quickly as possible. So, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to hear me too well, so I think we might be trying this out. Let's see if this works any better. Can you speak out a little bit?
All right, can you hear me a little better now? Am I still robotic?
Yes, you are not robotic anymore.
Fantastic. So we're going to use this option for a bit here. It should quiet down the game a little here, but we'll hopefully have some better audio quality. Sorry about the technical difficulties here as we continue with this game. All teams kind of around Baldir here. The heavy mid push coming out from Papa Please, maybe looking to make something happen. 2 going top from Kaizen, and still Rook is in the bot lane. We can see the effects of the global comp if Vex wants to come down mid. But no, wait, no, that's on cooldown for 100 seconds, so he does not have that global presence. Rook is also on cooldown, so if Papa Please were to make something happen, they'd have no extra assistance to come in. But instead, they've each gone off to their own lanes.
Yeah, so again, sorry about the connection issues with the roboting voices. It is unfortunate that we had that little bit of problem, but everything seems to be fine now, so you guys should be able to hear everything in 100% full swing with no annoying robotics going on. So Papa Please is looking to try to take as much control around the map as possible. They're going to get the Observer, however, HGN is going to take it back for their team. Meanwhile, they look like they're trying to make a play in the top lane with Fable coming around behind them.
And down comes Fable, so low onto Vex, trying to push it in. Trixie's lasers just constantly out of range as they successfully disengage that fight. But here comes a potential engage in the jungle over between Zico and HGN, fighting around between the mid and bot lanes. But no, it looks like Ryzen's going to get some successful push into the mid tower. But oh, a beautiful snare from Ripa. Here's Zico not quite landing the Dragon's Reach, but the ultimate goes down, and Ryzen's in a lot of trouble here. Can he put enough damage to get a kill on Ripa? No. HGN not able to finish it either, but can Claudessa catch up and finish off this Ryzen? You can do it, Claudessa, I believe. Yes, Claudessa picks up the kill on Ray. Ryzen going down in a beautiful engagement, and that beautiful snare from Ripa certainly enabling that. Up in the top lane, however, Wubby going deep onto Arena caught on the wrong side of Fable, and Wubby here having to run once away. Is he going to get away again with a sliver of health? He's starting to look at it. Can Fable catch up, or can Wubby land something? No, once again, R&R just constantly not giving up any kills and getting away with no health. Beautiful disengagement consistently out of that.
And Mantequilas is part of the reason that he keeps getting out with such a low amount of health is because Vex has a shield, and Mantequilas has been on point whenever he tries to shield him out, and that's part of the reason why he's been staying alive so very well in the top lane. Looks like Kaizen is going to try to push down the mid lane tower again just a little bit more. They might go for a dive on Ripa, but no, the dash just barely misses, and they're not going to be able to make any action out of that. However, they are going to be able to take the mid tower unless Zico can do something about this.
It's a landed Dragon's Reach. Ziku's going in, but there's no tower left, and it's 2-on-3 here. Here comes Fetterstone and the rest of Papa Please. They may be able to close on this, but they don't have enough crowd control to stop them from running. Ziku's too far back, and beyond Ziku and Ripa, there's no real potential to solidly catch someone with an engage.
And they're going to try to see what they can do. Again, the rotations were not that bad. Unfortunately, they just weren't able to catch anyone out. And Fable is going to be holding this top lane against 2 by himself. He might be able to do it with enough wave clear, but it looks like Wabi is going to be rotating towards the top lane and seeing what he can do to try to save them.
Indeed, and that does push them off there. Bear in mind, both Rook and Vex's ultimates are once again available, so they have that global capability again. Zico and Ripa constantly just staying in this mid lane, trying to push up this tower. But still, we see all 3 towers up on the outer level for that. Oh, Ripa coming in between Metgeos and Ernar, but hey, Ripa did not land the snare, and that's doom for Ripa. Down he goes, and in comes the rest of Kaizen to try to push something off of that, but no. After killing Ripa, Papa Please disengaged.
Yeah, and Papa Please again, they're just trying to look for any sort of opening they can get, but Kaizen is just not letting them have anything, showing that they do want to get back. They do want to get into the SCS after their performance in the SPL, and it looks like they're going to start pushing down the mid lane a little bit. Wubby is right up here. He's going to be able to wave clear the minion wave really quickly, and that's going to be nothing right there, but it looks like they're going to try to catch out Lag in the bottom lane. HGN is going for the speed boost, and he's going for it.
Lag's in a lot of trouble. HGN gets the stun in, and Ryzen's still tanking the tower, but there's no help here. Here comes Zico to try to make something happen. That tower's really low. Oh, the nice snare out of Ripa is possibly going to be enough to start this team fight. Dudley and Ernar so very low. Claudessa trying to chase him down. Ryzen now turning around. He's going to go down here to Wubby, and HCN trying to finish off Wubby in return, but Claudessa's there to help, and it's not going to be enough. No other kills coming down so far, but HCN's not going to be able to get away from this one Dragon's Reach, or, not even having to land the Dragon's Reach damage. That's enough for Ziku to pick up the kill on HGN. 2 good kills for Papa Please. They may be able to perhaps do Sindara or make some objective play off the back of that.
So Papa Please doing a pretty good job of making the best out of a worse situation right there. And they were able to take a couple of kills back for the exchange of the tower, and they're about 7,000 gold behind at this point, which again is not completely insurmountable. If we look at the GPM, not too much more than 100 GPM difference, so if they continue to play like this, if they continue to make their rotations, they might be able to take it. However, Lag gets cut out.
Lag is down very quickly. Ripa in a lot of trouble now. He's being chased down. He doesn't have much left to go, and there he goes, down to Rook. And that's 2 quick kills picked up by Kaizen there, turning that fight right around and saving that tower with a few hundred hit points left.
They might look to rotate towards Sandara. They have quite a bit of health in order to do this. If they kill Sandara, they're going to be able to get the Kratos pushing, and that is something that benefits their team extremely well. When you're super far behind, Sandara doesn't usually end up doing too much if you can get it, because you're not going to be able to have the pushing power anyway. But let's see what they can do to try to contest this.
Well, that's a lot of damage on Dudley. Sandara's trying his best to kill Rook, but they're not quite able to finish it. A good job from Papa Please to push them off of that. Sandara left with barely any health here. It's gone neutral again. Papa Please could start it, but they're still outnumbered here. And now the tides have turned down. Goes Ziku, but Lag and Rippa are here to turn this around. Sandara still low, a possibility. There we go. Papa Please trying to pick that up. They're going to leave themselves vulnerable to a counter engage, but they'll probably be able to get this. They pick up the Sandara and force out Kaizen. Beautiful play preventing that Sandara and then getting it themselves out of Papa Please. That was fantastic.
Papa Please with an amazing play right there. Basically, with their 3 heroes, they were able to just basically stall Kaizen as long as possible, get Sindar to do as much damage to as much of Kaizen's team as possible, and at the end we saw that there was only 1, maybe 2 people on Kaizen's team that was a little bit more than half health. So at that point, when the rest of Papa Please showed up, when the other 2 members showed up, they were full health, they were ready to initiate, they were ready to teamfight, whereas Kaizen was simply not. So even though it was a 4v5, because Papa Please lost someone, Kaizen was too low to really contest that, so Papa Please just forced the Sandara after that, so it's a very, very good play by them. Really high-level strategizing right there, and they're going to be able to push down the mid lane a little bit. They don't look like they want to wait for Kratos before they take this mid tower, and the stun is going to go out.
That's an engage onto Fable. Fable's very low here. Ryzen taking the pain for it. If they get Ryzen down, that's huge. He's down. HCN trying to chase off Fable, but it's no good. The rest of Papa Please is here. Here comes Kratos to cover that tower. Tower's down. In goes Papa Please, and they're pushing up onto the second tower. Kratos going to disable this one as well. Without Ryzen, that puts a lot of trouble on Kaizen. Aronar is hit by the Dragon's Reach. Oh, Dudley goes right in, doing so much damage. Manages to pick up the kill on the Lag, but Zika survives. They get the kill onto Dudley and HGN. So they still have this push. Very little health left on Sindara, so they're going to back off, and it looks like they're going to pick up Baldir for a little bit extra gold to close this gold gap that they have.
That was definitely one of the best possible scenarios that Papa Please could have asked for out of that Sindara. The Kratos was pushing down mid. They were able to take 2 towers off of it and 3 kills. They only lost 1 person in that entire fight. They're going to be able to take Baldir instead, and if we decide to look at the gold swing, we see a really big dip back into their favor after they took so many different objectives over there. The 1 kill onto Featherstone was able to mitigate that a tiny bit, but for the most part, they've gotten the gold lead back down under 6,000, and they've shown that they can indeed win teamfights. So that's something that's also going to give them a little bit more confidence going into the late game, and they're going to be able to try to make more fights happen as time goes on. Lag does have to watch out here because Ryzen is going stealthed.
And there's the engage, the missed stun, and Lag is getting out with barely any damage received. Nice escape there. So close to a beautiful play from Ryzen.
Yeah, it was very, very close, almost getting caught out there. But however, they are going to group as 5 and see what they can do. They're going to rotate bot. They're probably going to head mid after this to try to counter this push that Kaizen is trying to force. And again, Kaizen is the team that's going to be trying to force the aggression. That's what their team comp is looking like. They want to fight, they want to fight, they want to fight. That's basically what they always want to do, whereas Papa Please, they're looking to play more of a reactionary play. If they see someone who's ready to get caught out, they use Tinder's snare, as well as the burst damage from everyone else on their team to catch that person out. If they want a team fight, they have a pretty good amount of disengage or counter-engage. So if they play this game extremely well, they might have an advantage. They need to play not into the hands of Kaizen. They can't let Kaizen have the initiation that they want, especially if Dudley lands a perfect ultimate on one of the squishies, or if they manage to get HGN to pull 2 or 3 people back with the bow ultimate.
Indeed, all 5 from Papa Please are up in this top, ready to engage. It looks like Ziku and HGN trying to do their whole tanky, hey, I'm here, you're here, let's maybe fight at some point. But they're just waiting for the right opportunity. In goes HDN, initiates, misses everyone but Lag, and there comes the fight. Wubblies and both Wubby and Lag go down super quickly. Ripper's in a lot of trouble too. It's a beautiful fight so far from Kaizen. Vex teleported in. Fable is very low, but manages to pick up the kill on Dudley and Ryzen. And now it's even 2-4-2 out of the edge of that fight. Fable is low. Still, Claudessa is full, and not a whole lot of fight capability left from either of these teams. Although a good initiate from HGN could allow Aronar to do a lot more damage. But they're just poking this out and beginning to siege the tower up.
Yeah, Ryzen went huge in that fight. He was able to land his ultimate on, I believe, 3 people, 2 of them being squishies, and take them down to about 20 health each extremely quickly. Very good burst damage, and that's part of the reason why they were able to get 2 kills onto Papa Please. But however, Papa Please, they are scaling into the late game. This is the part where Featherstone gets super scary. This is the part where Hale gets super scary, and the part where Claudessa stops caring about damage. So as the game progresses, they're going to start having a really strong comp. And in the very late game, Kaizen needs to rely on their skill shots. They need to rely on Ryzen getting a stun down, getting his ultimate down in order to win super late game fights. So it's going to be really interesting to see which of these teams ends up on top of the late game. And it looks like Papa Please going for Baldir again. Just try to take small advantages wherever you can get, and they're going to be able to bring the gold difference back into their favor just a little bit. Ziku, however, is going to try to contest for this Observer Tower, and they're going to be able to get it. So Papa Please winning out in that sort of tiny little posturing fight.
The siege, here comes Fable. Oh, Fable caught too far in. Dies very quickly, and that's going to give a 5v4 siege advantage for Kaizen as they're pressing up here. HDN just hiding in the bush, waiting for another minion wave, a chance at initiation here. Both these teams doing that little dance. Vex walking around, looks like he's going to go clear up top lane and put some extra pressure on since they are the man up. And HDN takes a lot of poke from Wubby there, but the Rook ult goes in. HDN follows, but misses everyone, goes down super quickly, but Ripa is pulled apart by Dudley also. Dudley now on the hot seat. Mantequia's taking so much damage. Ryzen trying to stop it, but the ult from Claudessa and the damage from Featherstone more than enough to pick up another kill on Ryzen there. And now they're chasing down Aronar, who, as usual, is probably going to escape with, a sliver of hit points, as is every fight that he ends up in. He's only died, let's see, where are you, Aronar? You've only died 5 times. Okay, so he's died 5 times, but that's less than everyone except Trixie and Hale, who died 4. No, I'm looking at the wrong aisle. I lied! He hasn't died at all! I was right. He keeps escaping. This Vermilion just unable to die, as I cannot read KAD in the wrong order.
That's okay. Usually it's KDA, so
yeah.
That's something that might bring a little bit of confusion. But do Kaizen know about this Sandari is what I'm really wondering right now. No one seems to be ready to follow up. They're heading towards it right now, however, we're not seeing a Vex ultimate come out either, so there goes the Sandara, 100% free by Papa Please. Really good rotations by them. They would just notice that most of Kaizen went back. They were like, okay, half of them are low, half of them are not on the map. Let's just take Sandara. We have enough damage to burn it down before anyone can see it, and that is going to be the monkey on their side once again, and they're going to send it bot lane to just try to take more towers, which in this case is probably the best idea for them, because these towers are going to give them extra gold. And what they really need is not to break into the base, because if they try to go for mid lane, there's not a very high chance they're actually going to be able to get the generator, depending on how well Kaizen can defend their advantage. Instead, they're going to send it bot. They're going to take both of these towers, because I don't think they're going to have too much trouble taking those. And basically what Kaizen wants to do right now is Kaizen wants to try to catch them on the rotate. They're going to try to catch them out while they're trying to defend Krytos. So we'll see what happens. And in the past fight, or in the very last fight, Ryzen actually only landed his ultimate on 1 person, and it was a pretty tanky person, so not quite maximizing the effectiveness of Rook or of Ray in that point. So we'll see how well he can land his abilities in this next team fight.
Well, here comes Kaizen on to Kratos, waiting for the counter engage out of Papa Please here. Claudessa coming in from the side, they're chasing him back, no good on the Dragon's Reach, just forcing them away. Aronar just doing as much damage as he can to Kratos, the rest of Kaizen waiting in a hiding, ready to come up on a flank. We might see the engage here at this passage.
Ryzen looks for it, he uses the Shadow Veil, and it doesn't look like he's going for it. They're going to be able to take this tower.
Okay, quick tower down. We're going to continue this push. Fable's going in. He's trying to chase down Vermilion, but it's not going to work. as they're pushing up to the second tower. Is Kaizen going to fight under this? Vex is still top. He can teleport in, but the stun. Oh, beautiful stun onto Ripa. Just Kaizen just tearing through people left and right, and down goes Fable. Almost no, Fable gets out, but down goes Dudley instead. Ripa still doing damage thanks to the plant despite being dead, and that actually ends up to be a huge team fight. 5 kills all down on Kaizen for only 1 loss of Ripa, who continued actually fighting in the fight.
That was the turning point right there. Papa Please is in control of this game at this point. Amazing team fight on their side, and the entire time, Lag was sitting in the back line. He was only taking damage from 1 or 2 people. Do they look like they're gonna try to end it? And they have enough time. 7 seconds on Ray. It looks like they're going to be able to take down the last half of the Crux's health.
Down it goes. 6 seconds left. I don't think Rook can stop it. Raisin is up, but no, it's no good. This game is going to Papa Please after a devastatingly difficult early game. About the